Namaskar and welcome to Midday Prime. My name is Mark Lynn. News and updates from India and the world and from the world of business and sports. But first, let's give you the big news at this hour. Prime Minister Narendra Modi dedicates the Kochi-Mangalore natural gas pipeline to the nation through a video conference and says that the government's policy on energy is inclusive and that the country is moving towards the goal of one nation, one gas grid. The Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath orders strict actions against accused in the Muradnagar accident. Engineer and contractor to be booked under the National Security Act. Ex gratia of 10 lakh rupees announced for the families of the victims. Supreme Court dismisses objections filed against the Central Vista project, upholds the central government's plan for the construction of the Central Vista project and the government's proposal to construct a new parliament. Rains improve the air quality in Delhi NCR region. The minimum temperature also rises. The minimum temperature in eastern India also expected to increase in the next 2 to 3 days. More than 86 million people affected by COVID across the globe, and the death toll stands at 18,60,000. The British Prime Minister Boris Johnson announces a new lockdown in UK. Vital election for 2 Senate seats in the US state of Georgia to be held today. Democrats must win both seats to gain dominance in the Senate. Rohit Sharma, Rishabh Pant, Shubman Gill, Prithvi Shaw and Navdeep Saini get permission to play in that's the third test match between India and Australia, which starts from Thursday in Sydney. So let's begin with the big story at this hour. Prime Minister Narendra Modi dedicated the Kochi-Mangaluru natural gas pipeline to the nation via video conference. The 450-kilometer long pipeline has been built by the Gas Authority of India Limited. It has a capacity of 12 million metric standard cubic meters per day, and this project marks a milestone in the creation of the one nation, one gas grid. The Kochi gas pipeline, it will carry natural gas from the liquefied natural gas regasification terminal, which is at Kochi in Kerala, to Mangaluru, which is in Dakshina Kannada district of Karnataka. And it will pass through Ernakulam, Thrissur, Palakkad, Malappuram, Kozhikode, Kannur and Kasaragod districts of Kerala. This project has cost about 3,000 crore rupees, and the Prime Minister said that it is not just a pipeline, but it can be a major driver of development in both states. India is focusing on a gas-based economy today, and a lot of work is being done on this one nation, one grid. Let's listen to the Prime Minister.
Our government believes in an integrated approach for energy planning. Our energy agenda is all-inclusive. Since 2014, we have brought in various reforms across the oil and gas sector. These reforms cover exploration and production, natural gas marketing and distribution. We plan to achieve one nation, one gas grid. We also want to shift to gas-based economy. The use of natural gas has several environmental benefits. The government is taking policy initiative to increase the share of natural gas in India's energy basket from 6% to 15%. Crores of rupees would be invested in the oil and gas sector in this decade itself. dedication of this Kochi-Mangaluru natural gas pipeline of GAIL is a part of our journey to move towards one nation, one gas grid.
And the Prime Minister said that this pipeline has generated employment of 12 lakh man-days during the construction time, and he said that the employment opportunities will increase. All kinds of businesses will benefit from this pipeline.
पाइपलाइन के निर्माण के दौरान 12 लाख मैंडेज का रोजगार जनरेट हुआ है। पाइपलाइन के शुरू होने के बाद भी रोजगार और स्वरोजगार का एक नया इकोसिस्टम केरला और कर्नाटका में बहुत तेजी से विकसित होगा। फर्टिलाइजर उद्योग हो, पेट्रोकेमिकल उद्योग हो, बिजली उद्योग हो, हर उद्योग इससे लाभ लेगा और रोजगार के अवसर बनेंगे।
And Prime Minister said that the blue economy is set to become a major pillar of Atmanirbhar Bharat. He further added that our coastal region is also becoming a model of ease of living.
केरला हो, कर्नाटका हो, साउथ इंडिया के हर राज्य में जो समंदर से सटे हैं, वहां ब्लू इकोनॉमी के विकास के लिए एक कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव प्लान पर काम हो रहा है। ब्लू इकोनॉमी आत्मनिर्भर भारत का एक बहुत बड़ा स्रोत बनने वाला है। पूरे कोस्टल इकोसिस्टम की सुरक्षा और समृद्धि बहुत जरूरी है। मत्स्य व्यापार से जुड़े साथियों को भी सस्ते ऋण के लिए किसान क्रेडिट कार्ड देना हो, इससे सामान्य मछुआरे साथी को भी लाभ हो रहा है। कुछ महीने पहले देश में 20,000 करोड़ रुपए की मत्स्य संपदा योजना शुरू की गई है। इसका सीधा लाभ केरला और कर्नाटका के लाखों मछुआरे साथियों को होने वाला है।
Well, the pipeline will supply environment-friendly and affordable fuel in the form of piped natural gas to households and compressed natural gas to the transportation sector. And the Prime Minister said that clean energy is important for a better future, and the government's policy has been inclusive. He added that 20% of ethanol blending will be done in petrol soon.
आज देश में ही बायोफ्यूल्स पर बहुत बड़े स्तर पर काम चल रहा है। गन्ना हो या अन्य एग्रो प्रोडक्ट्स हो, इनसे इथेनॉल के निर्माण पर गंभीरता से काम किया जा रहा है। अगले 10 साल में पेट्रोल में होने वाली इथेनॉल ब्लेंडिंग को 20% तक करने का लक्ष्य रखा गया है। यही नहीं, इलेक्ट्रिक मोबिलिटी से जुड़े सेक्टर को, इसमें जुड़े इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर को भी बहुत अधिक प्रोत्साहन दिया जा रहा है। हम देशवासी को पर्याप्त, सस्ता, प्रदूषण रहित ईंधन मिले, बिजली मिले, इसके लिए हमारी सरकार पूरी प्रतिबद्धता से काम कर रही है।
And Arun Sharma now joins us, putting the story into context for us. Well, Arun, the government provides infrastructure. People look for infrastructure from the government and it creates economic opportunities. But the importance about this type of infrastructure is that it is inclusive and it is also environment friendly. Put that into context for us.
Well, absolutely, Mark. It's a significant day, first of all, as far as oil and gas sector in our country is concerned. We know this fact that today the gas pipeline that has been dedicated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi is an important subset primarily of India's One Nation, One Gas Grid initiative. We know this fact that as of now there is close to 15,000 kilometers of network of One Nation, One Gas Grid connection.
Yes.
And now the government is focusing upon increasing this gas network to approximately, by primarily doubling this gas network going forward. The need of this is that how can more and more focus and emphasis can be given on the green energy solution. And natural gas is the primary example, because going forward, we are witnessing that demand is going to hugely increase. As of now, there's 6% of the natural gas market share, as far as the market share is concerned, of the energy mix. But now
Yes.
government is focusing on doubling this 6% market share of natural gas to 15% going forward. So we know this fact that there are close to 2,200 CNG terminals as of now. So government also intends to increase this CNG terminals to 10,000. And as far as the PNG connection in the country is concerned, the government is focusing upon as to how can this 5 crore kitchens or households can be provided with PNG gas connection. So in that context, it is very much important to strengthen the gas network in our country.
Yes,
so on
indeed.
one side, this is energy efficient in nature. On the second important aspect, it is environment friendly. Third important aspect, it will ensure that there is less pollution in our systems, and of course in our city and our districts. And last but not the least, this will also create jobs, giving a way to the Atmanirbhar Bharat initiative as well, because more and more energy dependence that will be generated, it will be generated in India, and that's the reason it is important part as far as
Yes.
this entire gas network distribution is concerned.
Yes, indeed. Infrastructure will always lead to growth, and growth will lead to job opportunities. But the important thing about this project is that it is on the western coast, and it also will aid the blue economy, as the Prime Minister was saying, because a lot of the economic activities are related to the sea in these areas. So, put that also into context for us.
So absolutely, Mark, the Matsya Sampada Yojana was recently, in 2020, it was launched by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. It is the 20,000 crore of initiative. Now, this scheme aims to, benefit the fishermen of our country. It provides a better and conducive environment for the fishermen in our country. It provides incentives. It provides conducive environment as far as the fishery industry in a whole is concerned. So that's the reason. Today is an important day as well, because the government in last 6 years have focused upon the part as to how can coastal region in our country can be benefited, so the blue economy in our country can get a major push. We know this fact that a lot of fishermen in our country, and as far as the coastal region is concerned, blue economy is something that is much focused upon. And blue economy, as Prime Minister Narendra Modi clearly mentioned about this fact, that as far as coastal region of our country is concerned, government is committed as far as security and of course prosperity of this coastal belt is concerned. So in that context, the southern part is going to benefit the most when it gives a major push to the blue economy in our country. So on one side, we have seen initiatives like Matsya Sampada Yojana. So on the other side, we have also seen initiatives which gives a major infrastructure and capacity building as far as, the blue economy in our country is concerned. And in that context only, the strengthening of the gas pipeline in our country, the strengthening of this one nation, one gas grid will also ensure that, the people living in coastal area do also get benefit. So in that context, it's a historic day as well.
Indeed, and households will benefit a great deal because they're going to get piped natural gas. The old system of waiting for cylinders and all that is likely to go over a period of time, and this will lead to a much more convenience and ease of living is what the Prime Minister talked about. Ultimately, that is what, raising the standard of living and the ease of living is what is the underlying goal of providing infrastructure by the government. That also is an important goal here.
That's right, Mark. This is an engineering marvel. We can say that because, the gas pipeline that was inaugurated today, it is connecting several districts. It has gone from 100 water bodies in our country. So that's an important aspect. And as far as the gas grid in our country is concerned, what government is ensuring as of now and is committed to, that it needs to create one gas grid or the national gas grid so that the logistical costs can be reduced going forward. And in that context, today's national the gas grid between these two states, of course, will benefit these two states only, and it will also contribute as far as the mission and vision of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the government is to create one nation and one gas grid. As far as capacity is concerned, what government is also intending to invest a massive $60 billion, by 2030 to strengthen our, gas capacity. As far as this regasification terminal in Kochi is concerned, government is also ensuring that more and more regasification terminal can be operationalized, because regasification is an important part, because LNG is in liquid format, and it is an important aspect to convert this liquid.
Right. Thanks very much, Arun, for those inputs. The Union Education Minister Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank and the Union Textiles Minister and Women and Child Development Minister Smriti Irani are jointly launching the virtual toy hackathon, Toykathon 2021. Let's go there now.
And supported Atmanirbhar Bharat with regards to this segment of toy manufacturing. As has been enunciated by Praveen ji, it is a $100 billion international toy market in which India finds a space of our indigenous market to the value of $1.5 billion. We are growing at the rate of 15% per year, but this growth should bear positive fruits and results for our industry. And that is why today the Ministry of Education has my gratitude, because we are reaching out through this Toykathon for the first time to students and faculty members across the country in all schools, colleges, universities, so that they can answer this clarion call of Atmanirbhar Bharat. My compliments to the team of the Innovation Cell and to AICT Chairperson who is amongst us today. And I'm hopeful that along with innovative ideas for the industry, students can also bring forth new ideas for old handcrafted toy clusters, of which 8 toy clusters today enjoy GI certification. With that hope that students and faculty members across the country will rise to this challenge with a particular interest and an intervention for toys for specially abled Divyang children, it is my hope that this Toykathon throws in new ideas that our industry can not only celebrate, but also commercialize. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Now, I invite Honorable Minister Shri Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank ji to brief the media.
भारत सरकार में हमारे यशस्वी मंत्री स्मृति जी और AICT के चेयरमैन अनिल सर सुबुद्धे जी, सचिव प्रवीण जी, जो प्रकोष्ठ नवाचार प्रकोष्ठ के मुख्य अधिकारी अभय जेरे और PIB के DG, सभी उपस्थित मीडिया के भाई बहनों, सभी अधिकारी वर्ग, जैसे कि स्मृति जी ने जिस बात को चर्चा की है कि न केवल एक विभाग बल्कि सभी मिलकर के जो हमारे देश के यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी का जो 21वीं सदी का स्वर्णिम भारत है, और ऐसा भारत जो सुंदर भारत हो, स्वच्छ भारत हो, सशक्त हो, आत्मनिर्भर हो, श्रेष्ठ हो, उस 21वीं सदी के स्वर्णिम भारत की ओर जो हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी की मंशा है, उस आत्मनिर्भर भारत की दिशा में मैं धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूं स्मृति जी को। स्मृति जी ने बहुत लंबे समय से ये खिलौना कितना इस देश में आता है और कितना बड़ा मार्केट पूरी दुनिया का है, 7 लाख करोड़ का मार्केट हो पूरी दुनिया में खिलौने का, और अभी हमारे देश में जो दुनिया का सबसे बड़ा लोकतांत्रिक देश है, 130 करोड़ लोगों की जनसंख्या है, और वहाँ 80% जो खिलौना है वो भी बाहर से आता हो, तो आज इस दिशा में ये हैकाथन करने की कोशिश है, क्योंकि नरेंद्र मोदी जी की सरकार ने हमेशा विचार विमर्श, परामर्श और लगातार लोगों से संवाद का जो रास्ता अपनाया है, चाहे मेरी नई शिक्षा नीति का विषय हो, चाहे तमाम नीतियों का हो, जहाँ दुनिया के सबसे बड़े नवाचार के साथ हम ठोस चीज़ों को निकालते हैं। और आज मुझे इस बात की खुशी है कि महिला बाल विकास मंत्रालय, जिसको आप लीड कर रही हैं, और इस सारे प्रोजेक्ट को भी स्मृति जी के मार्गदर्शन में आगे बढ़ रहा है। ये वाणिज्य और उद्योग मंत्रालय है, लघु कुटीर उद्योग मंत्रालय है, और AICT जो उसके चेयरमैन भी यहाँ पर हैं, और हमारे देश के 1000 से तो अधिक विश्वविद्यालय हैं और 45,000 से अधिक डिग्री कॉलेज हैं, IIT हैं, NIT हैं, IIIT हैं, IISER हैं, ISR हैं, तमाम संस्थाएं हैं पूरे देश के अंदर। विश्वविद्यालयों में इतनी समर्थता है कि पीछे के समय में भी हमने इसको प्रमाण दिया है। यदि युक्ति पोर्टल पर आप कोविड के दौरान देखेंगे तो युक्ति जो IITs ने जो शोध और अनुसंधान किए, जिसका आज दुनिया में उसका खुशबू गई है, और युक्ति 2 जो हज़ारों आइडियाज़ हमारे छात्रों के हैं, जो पूरे देश को आत्मनिर्भर भारत बनाने की दिशा में आगे बढ़ सकते हैं। सबसे बड़ी बात यह है कि ये जो खिलौना है, जब हम इतना बड़ा देश हैं और हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी का विज़न है कि $5 ट्रिलियन की अर्थव्यवस्था चाहिए। हम जहाँ ज्ञान की महाशक्ति बनाना चाहते हैं, वहाँ अर्थ की भी महाशक्ति बनाने की दिशा में ये इतना बड़ा मार्केट 7 लाख करोड़ का मार्केट है, और अभी तो हम अपने ही देश की अपनी ही आपूर्ति नहीं कर पा रहे हैं। तो इसलिए ये अभियान आज जो हैकाथॉन किया है, इससे पहले भी हमने स्मार्ट इंडिया हैकाथॉन किया है, जिससे जो निकले बहुत सारे स्टार्टअप हमारे निकले हैं जिन्होंने बहुत ऊंचाइयाँ स्पर्श किए हैं। हमने पीछे के दिनों में भूटान, सिंगापुर और इंडिया हैकाथॉन किया, दोनों देशों ने, और अब भविष्य में हम आसियान देशों के साथ हैकाथॉन करेंगे। अभी हमने औषधि के लिए कोविड के दौरान भी हैकाथॉन किया था, और आपको याद होगा जब प्रधानमंत्री जी ने कहा था कि चुनिंदे देश के जो छोटे छात्र, स्कूली छात्र हैं, वो ध्रुव कार्यक्रम हमने शुरू किया था। तो ये नवाचार के साथ ये खिलौना का जो उद्योग का भारत लीड कैसे कर सकता है, इस दिशा में जैसे स्मृति जी ने उसको कहा है कि ये जो मंशा है, और मंशा भी भारत की संस्कृति के साथ जोड़ने का है। हम अपने बचपन से यदि देखेंगे तो हम जिस खिलौने के साथ खेलते हैं उसकी स्मृति आज भी बनी रहती है, और वो इतना सशक्त माध्यम है, खिलौना के माध्यम से उसको ज्ञान का अर्जन कराना वो सबसे सशक्त माध्यम है। और इसलिए जब हम भारत केंद्रित शिक्षा नीति को लाए हैं, हमने स्कूली शिक्षा से नवाचार के साथ, तो वो भी इंटर्नशिप के साथ, तो नवाचार हम 6वीं से वोकेशनल स्ट्रीम के साथ लेकर के आ रहे हैं। और स्कूली शिक्षा में पूरी दुनिया का शायद ये देश पहला होगा जो आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस के रूप में स्कूली शिक्षा से शुरू करेगा। इन सब को कैसे संयोजित कर सकते हैं, और स्मृति जी ने जो भारत की संस्कृति की बात की संक्षिप्त में उन्होंने, वो उसकी ताकत है। हम अपने खिलौने के माध्यम से कैसे करके, अभी आपको मालूम है कि हमारे देश के प्रधानमंत्री जी ने जब अपने मन की बात में कहा था, तो उन्होंने कहा था कि भारत की समृद्ध संस्कृति, नवाचार और इतिहास को अपने खिलौने और खेलों में समाहित करने का ये समय आ गया है। अपनी हमारी जो संस्कृति, जिस पर ये देश विश्वगुरु रहा है, ज्ञान विज्ञान अनुसंधान सभी चीज़ में हमने पूरी दुनिया को लीडरशिप दी है। तो वो पूरी दुनिया को लीडरशिप बच्चों को खिलौने के, स्वदेशी खिलौने के माध्यम से कैसे करके हम लोग कर सकते हैं, इसलिए ये टाई हैकाथॉन आज आयोजित किया जा रहा है। और इसमें स्वदेशी खिलौने में जो भारत की विरासत और सांस्कृतिक संदर्भ हैं, जिसमें बच्चों को सीखने के साथ कुछ ऐसी भी चीज़, गर्व की भावना उसमें समाहित हो सके, ये खिलौने, इसलिए उनको जानकारी हो सके DRDO के बारे में, DEA के बारे में, IITs, IIITs, IISER, NITs, जितने भी राष्ट्र नायकों के बारे में, चाहे हमारे छत्रपति शिवाजी हो, राणा हो, लचित बोरफुकन हो, झांसी की रानी हो, किट्टर हो, चन्नम्मा हो, सरदार पटेल हो, परमवीर चक्र पुरस्कार विजेता हों, आर्यभट्ट हों, चाहे हमारे जितने पुराने सुश्रुत हों, चरक हों, CV रमन हों, बोस हों, विश्वेश्वरैया हो, कलाम हों, और नागार्जुन हो, बोधायन हो, पतंजलि हो, तमाम वो लोग हमारे सामने हैं जिन्होंने पूरे विश्व के लिए कुछ दे करके, और आज भी वो संपत्ति हमारे सामने, उनके आधार पर ये भारत केंद्रित ये जो विज्ञान और ज्ञान के साथ किस तरीके से उन खिलौनों के माध्यम से हम भारत को आत्मनिर्भर भारत बना सकते हैं, लाखों लोग उससे जुड़ सकते हैं। वो स्थान स्थान पर अभी मैं देख रहा हूँ कि विभिन्न प्रदेशों में ऐसी चीज़ें हैं जिसको यदि हम पूरे देश के अंदर लेकर के जाएंगे तो लोगों को गर्व भी महसूस होगा, देश के बारे में भी जानेंगे, एक भारत श्रेष्ठ भारत के से भी जुड़ेंगे। तो इसलिए आज का जो हैकाथॉन है, ये हैकाथॉन कई मायनों में बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण है। और मुझे लगता है कि जो देश के प्रधानमंत्री जी का मन है कि ये पूरी दुनिया में हम जो ये 7 लाख करोड़ का जो मार्केट है पूरी दुनिया का, और भारत के अंदर प्रतिभा भी है और जुनून भी है और संकल्प भी है और परिस्थितियाँ भी इस समय हैं, इसको कैसे करके जोड़ा जा सकता है। तो आज मैं विशेष करके स्मृति जी की बहुत इनको धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूँ। लगातार जब पीछे के समय में भी इन्होंने प्रस्तुतिकरण दिया था तो एक एक चीज़ करके कैसे करके ये देश आत्मनिर्भर भारत की दिशा में ऊंचाइयों को छू सकता है। और ये जिसकी ज़रूरत है, 33 करोड़ छात्र छात्राएं हैं इस देश में। यदि अकेले उन छात्र छात्राओं की मैं बात करूं तो अमेरिका की कुल जितनी जनसंख्या नहीं है उससे भी ज़्यादा मेरे देश के अंदर छात्र छात्राएं हैं। तो उनको किस रूप में इसको आगे बढ़ा सकते हैं। तो आज ये हमारे लिए एक ऐतिहासिक क्षण है जब हम अपने छात्रों के नवाचार से, और क्योंकि मंत्रालय ने एक नवाचार प्रकोष्ठ जिसका लीड कर रहे हैं अभय जेरे, सिर्फ इसीलिए उसको AICTE के साथ जोड़ा है कि जो आइडियाज़ हैं हमारे छात्रों के, बच्चों के, अध्यापकों के, वो कैसे करके आगे बढ़ सकते हैं जिससे हमारा देश फिर वही विश्वगुरु के रूप में स्थापित हो सके, श्रेष्ठ भारत के रूप में स्थापित हो सके, आत्मनिर्भर भारत के रूप में स्थापित हो सके। और जो मेक इन इंडिया है और जो स्किल इंडिया है, ये मेक इन इंडिया और स्किल इंडिया दोनों को जोड़ करके एक नया चीज़ कैसे निकल सकता है, ये इसका हेतु है। और आज इसको शुभारंभ करते हुए मुझे खुशी हो रही है कि निश्चित ये आत्मनिर्भर भारत की दिशा में आज ये नींव का पत्थर साबित होगा। धन्यवाद।
धन्यवाद सर।
Well, that was Union Minister Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank and the Union Minister Smriti Irani jointly inaugurating the toy hackathon. And the main purpose is to use toys in the educational development as tools, in a sense, for building on the capabilities of children. Also to transform the toy sector in a sense, because there's huge potential in the toy sector. It's a massive market, it creates opportunities, and to understand the minds of children and to try and bring out the best in them. So let's move on to our developing story now. Our developing story is this. The Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh, Yogi Adityanath, has ordered strict action against the culprits of the Muradnagar roof collapse case. The Chief Minister Adityanath has ordered to book the contractor as well as the engineer under the National Security Act, and has also ordered to recover the losses from the accused. The actions also include the blacklisting of the contractor. The Chief Minister, in a notice to the District Magistrate and the Commissioner, also asked the reason behind the lapse when it was clearly instructed to conduct physical verification of about 50 lakh construction workers in September itself. An ex gratia of 10 lakh rupees has been announced for the families of the victims by the Uttar Pradesh government, besides providing houses to those families who are homeless. Well, our correspondent Vikas Singh now joins us with more on this. Well, Vikas, the contractors have been booked, FIR has been lodged. Tell us, what is the stage of the investigation?
जी बिल्कुल, मुख्यमंत्री ने कहा है कि ये घटना अक्षम्य है और अत्यंत पीड़ादायक है। इसी को देखते हुए उन्होंने आज निर्देश दिया है कि जो इसके दोषी ठेकेदार और इंजीनियर हैं उन पर रासुका की कार्रवाई की जाए, रासुका के तहत कार्रवाई की जाए, और साथ ही साथ जो नुकसान हुआ है उसकी वसूली जो है उसकी वसूली उन लोगों से की जाए। साथ में सख्त निर्देश दिए हैं इस घटना पर। जिस तरीके से ये घटना हुई थी, अत्यंत पीड़ादायक घटना थी, शमशान घाट मुरादनगर शमशान घाट की घटना, इस पर उन्होंने साथ साथ जो पीड़ित परिवार हैं उनको आवासीय सुविधा और 10 लाख रुपये के मुआवजे का भी ऐलान किया है। और इस बात का मुख्यमंत्री का ये निर्देश है, साफ करता है कि कोई भी अगर घटना होती है, उसमें अगर भ्रष्टाचार होता है, आपराधिक प्रवृत्ति की घटना है, उस पर सरकार किस तरीके से सख्त एक्शन लेती है, और इसी पर एक्शन लेते हुए मुख्यमंत्री योगी आदित्यनाथ ने ये एक्शन दिया है। साथ ही साथ मुख्यमंत्री ने कमिश्नर और जिला अधिकारी को भी एक नोटिस दिया है कि क्योंकि इससे पहले जब निर्देश दिए गए थे कि 50 लाख से ऊपर के जो भी निर्माण कार्य कराए जाते हैं उनका सत्यापन किया जाता है उच्च अधिकारियों के द्वारा, उसे क्यों नहीं कराया गया। और इसी तरीके के निर्देश उन्होंने देर शाम प्रदेश के समस्त जनपदों में दिए हैं कि इस प्रकार की कभी कोई घटना की पुनरावृत्ति ना हो, इसको ध्यान में रखते हुए दिए गए हैं कि अगर जहां भी कोई निर्माण किए गए हैं उनका सत्यापन, भौतिक सत्यापन जाके जिला अधिकारी स्वयं करें, उच्च अधिकारी स्वयं करें। अत्यंत जो है कह रहे हैं ऐसी घटनाओं की पुनरावृत्ति ना हो, और साथ साथ जो मुरादनगर की बड़ी घटना हुई है, दुखद घटना हुई है, इस पर जो भी दोषी हैं उनको कड़ी से कड़ी सजा मिले, ये एक अत्यंत महत्वपूर्ण है। सरकार का ये लक्ष्य है, निर्देश है। मुख्यमंत्री सीधे इस घटना को संज्ञान लिया है और इसी पर निर्देश दिया है कि जो भी लोग हैं एनएसए के तहत उन पर कार्रवाई की जाए और जो भी घटना में जो नुकसान है उसकी वसूली उनसे की जाए, उन लोगों से की जाए जो इस घटना के जिम्मेदार हैं, उनको सजा मिल सके। साथ ही साथ लोगों को, पीड़ित परिवारों को सहायता पहुंचाने के लिए सहायता राशि की भी बात कही है। जी
Right. Also, because what comes to mind is that if there are buildings that are likely to collapse, an audit is probably in order. I mean, people may need to audit, the authorities may need to audit buildings that look like they are likely they are unsafe. Is something like that happening? Because we are still having no relief from the rain, at least today as well.
जी बिल्कुल, इस तरीके की घटनाएं जब होती हैं तो अत्यंत कहीं ना कहीं इनके पीछे एक बड़ा महकमा लगा होता है, कहीं ना कहीं उनकी लापरवाही होती है और भ्रष्टाचार से जुड़े मामले इसमें संदेह पनप रहा है। और इन्हीं को देखते हुए मुख्यमंत्री योगी आदित्यनाथ ने जो निर्देश दिए हैं, खासतौर से डीएम और कमिश्नर को जो नोटिस जारी किया है कि आपने इस बिल्डिंग का सत्यापन क्यों नहीं कराया था, किस तरीके से कंस्ट्रक्शन का कार्य कराया गया था, वो सब चीज़ें आप लोगों ने क्यों नहीं देखी हैं। जो दोषी हैं उनको तो सजा होगी होगी, इस मामले पर अभी कुछ और बड़ी कार्रवाई भी हो सकती है। इसका साफ संकेत दे रहे हैं मुख्यमंत्री कि अभी कुछ उच्च लोगों पर भी कार्रवाई होना तय है और इस तरीके की घटनाएं कभी
मैं पूछ रहा था कि इस तरह के और भी इमारत हो सकता है वहां पे जो कमजोर लग रहा है।
बिल्कुल,
उसके बारे में बात कीजिए।
बिल्कुल, इसी को ध्यान में रखते हुए पूरे प्रदेश के समस्त जिला अधिकारियों को निर्देश दिए गए हैं। जी, समस्त जनपदों में जो भी निर्देश दिए गए हैं कि वहां पर जो 50 लाख से ऊपर का जो भी निर्माण कार्य कराया जाता है उसका उच्च अधिकारी वहां जाकर उनका सत्यापन करें, किस तरह की क्वालिटी का काम किया जा रहा है वो देखना अत्यंत महत्वपूर्ण है। निगरानी में काम हो, कोई भी व्यक्ति मुनाफाखोरी के लिए गलत काम ना कर रहा हो, गलत मटेरियल ना लगा रहा हो, इन सब चीज़ों का आगे के जो भी निर्माण हो रहे हो, जो वर्तमान में निर्माण करे जा रहे हैं, उनका सत्यापन कराया जाए, ये सुनिश्चित किया जाए और सरकार को इसकी रिपोर्ट दी जाए।
Okay, thanks very much, Vikas, for joining us with those inputs. Moving on then to our National Prime segment. Well, in a majority verdict of 2:1, the Supreme Court today gave the green signal to the Central Vista project. The Apex Court upheld the central government's plan for the construction of the Central Vista project and the government's proposal to construct a new parliament. The majority verdict said that there was no need for the approval at the incipient stage, but approval should be sought when the project materializes on the ground. The Supreme Court had last month allowed the foundation stone ceremony for the new Parliament building to go ahead as scheduled on the 10th of December after the government gave an undertaking to keep in abeyance the construction or the demolition of the buildings and shifting of trees and to wait for the verdict. And Vikas Sarthi now joins us with more inputs on this. Well, Vikas, can the construction start now?
Right, Mark, the Supreme Court has given a go-ahead to the centre and now the construction can proceed further. Earlier, the Supreme Court sought an undertaking from the centre that till Supreme Court decides this matter, no construction will be allowed. Neither any old structure will be demolished. So today Supreme Court has given its verdict by a majority of 2:1. It has said that whatever issues raised in the petition don't hold any ground. All prior sanctions were taken by the different agencies. Though Justice Sanjeev Khanna in his minority judgment has said that apart from these sanctions, an approval from the Heritage Conservation Committee should also have been taken. Though the other two judges were not agree on that aspect also. So by and large, bench was agreed on most of the issues like change in land use, environmental clearances, but on the issue of prior sanction from Heritage Conservation Committee, that is the issue where Justice Khanna had a different view of opinion.
So change in land use, what does that imply? I mean, the land was what and how is it being changed?
Mark, the land was not supposed to be used for any kind of construction. For that, you need to change the use of land from forest or conserve land. You need to change that land use to commercial or for some construction purpose. So that land use was changed in master plan, and that proceedings Supreme Court has said that were correct. There was no wrongdoing in all those proceedings where land use was changed. On that aspect, all three judges were in agreement, but only on the issue of prior approval from a certain committee, that was the area where there was a difference of opinion.
Right. Thanks very much, Vikas, for those inputs. Important news there that the Central Vista project can start. Now, Union Health Minister Harsh Vardhan today inaugurated the CEPI recognized bioassay lab. This is the first in India and one of 7 globally at the Department of Biotechnology and the Transnational Health Science and Technology Institute. He did so via video conferencing. He also released an e-book for science and technology solutions for COVID-19.
वैक्सीन से जुड़े हुए जितने विषय हैं उनमें खाली हम वैक्सीन को यहाँ हमने विकसित नहीं किया, हम वैक्सीन के बारे में अपने दूसरे आसपास के देशों को हम वहाँ पर ट्रायल्स कैसे होंगे, वहाँ पर ट्रायल्स को सपोर्ट करने के लिए, वहाँ पर ट्रायल्स को हर प्रकार से हेल्प करने के लिए, इन सब चीज़ों के लिए हम लोग जो है ट्रेनिंग दे रहे हैं, उनको मदद कर रहे हैं। और आज हमारे कई पड़ोसी देशों में जो है वो जो क्लिनिकल ट्रायल्स इत्यादि हो पा रहे हैं वो इस वजह से हो पा रहे हैं क्योंकि हमारा जो डिपार्टमेंट है वो उन ट्रायल्स वगैरह को जो है सारे सपोर्ट कर रहा है, उसके लिए ट्रेनिंग दे रहा है।
And Dr. Harsh Vardhan also said that India has already done genome sequencing of the coronavirus 6 months ago. So India is among those countries which have successfully led this fight against coronavirus.
हम लोगों ने उसी दौरान आज से 6 महीना पहले हमारी साइंस की बायोटेक्नोलॉजी की लेबॉर्ट्रीज़ में, CSIR की लेबॉर्ट्रीज़ में, ICMR की लेबॉर्ट्रीज़ में हमने सब जगह पे वायरस की उस ज़माने में जीनोम सीक्वेंसिंग सिर्फ अध्ययन की दृष्टि से, रिसर्च की दृष्टि से शुरू की। तब तो ऐसा नहीं था कि हमें पता था कि दिसंबर के महीने में कोई वायरस जो है वो इंग्लैंड के अंदर म्यूटेशन इस प्रकार का करेगा जो तेज़ी से ट्रांसमिशन होगा, लेकिन हमारा यानी रिसर्च का कंपोनेंट भी लगातार हमारा स्ट्रेंथन रहा और हमने खाली वायरस की जीनोम सीक्वेंसिंग नहीं, अपितु हम सब जानते हैं कि वायरस को सबसे पहले दुनिया में 4-5 देश जिन्होंने आइसोलेट किया उसमें भारत था और ICMR ने आइसोलेट किया। और अभी हमने ये भी देखा कि अभी जो म्यूटेशन वाला वायरस है इसको भी हमारा देश आइसोलेट कर चुका है।
So let's now take a look at the COVID-19 update from across the country. With a sustained, proactive and calibrated approach, the daily new cases in India are on a continuing decline. This has ensured a consistent fall in the active caseload. The share of active cases in the total positive cases has further contracted and it's now merely 2.23% of the cumulative caseload. And with this, the rising recoveries also have led to a decline in the daily new cases as well. And India's cumulative recoveries, they are moving closer to 1 crore. The total recovered cases is nearing 99,75,000 today. And that translates to a recovery rate of 96.32%. Over 29,000 people have recovered in the last 24 hours itself. The Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu today said that there is no dearth of talent in India, which is evident with the development of COVID-19 vaccines by the Indian companies in a short span of time. In a statement that was made by the Vice President in Chennai, when he inaugurated the new residential wing of the Institute of Mathematical Sciences, the Vice President said that there is something special in every element of India and we need to identify, encourage and promote talent from our country.
There is no dearth of talent in India. This land, this soil, this water, this air, this civilization has something special. There is inherent knowledge. What you need to do is identify, encourage, and promote. Then you will. That's how it explains about the Indian companies coming out with this vaccination in such a short span of time.
Well, North India, which was reeling under a severe cold wave, is likely to get some relief as the maximum temperatures are showing a positive tendency over Punjab, Haryana, Chandigarh and Delhi. However, due to active western disturbance, the national capital received light intensity rain over west, northwest and parts of north and central Delhi today. The Met Department has predicted a thunderstorm, lightning and hailstorm in parts of Delhi and adjoining areas during the next 2 hours. Meanwhile, Delhi's Safdarjung Observatory recorded a minimum temperature of 13.2 degrees Celsius today at 8:30 a.m. Meanwhile, the higher reaches of Jammu and Kashmir received fresh snowfall. The Srinagar-Jammu National Highway remains closed and the slippery road conditions there also because caused by the snow has caused inconvenience to commuters. However, snow clearance vehicles were pressed into service for the clearance of snow from roads in Srinagar and all inter-district routes, towns of the valley. And you're watching Midday Prime, so it's news and updates now from the world of business. And here's Abhishek with all the latest from the world of business. Over to you, Abhishek.
Thanks, Mark. To start with, we'll have a markets update. Sensex and Nifty were down in red in the Tuesday morning trading session following weak global cues. The Indian markets were trading near day's high in noon. Deals of Tuesday's volatile session with tech stocks contributing majorly to their gains. Sensex was up by 120 points at 48,300 levels and the Nifty 50 index hovered near 40,150 marks. The Nifty sectoral indices were trading mixed with the Nifty IT index up by 2%, leading the list of gainers. Talking about the rupees, it depreciated by 13 paise to 73.15 per US dollar on Tuesday's opening trade. Tracking the muted opening in domestic equities, the domestic unit was trading in a narrow range. It opened at 73.02 against the US dollar at the interbank forex market and later fell to 73.15 against the greenback, registering a fall of 13 paise over its previous close. Meanwhile, gold rates have hiked on Tuesday. On MCX, the gold rates have been at rupees 51,600. Gold rate in Delhi for 22 carat has remained at rupees 49,070 and that of 24 carat gold is at rupees 53,520 per 10 gram with a hike of rupees 10. In Chennai, the gold rate is at rupees 48,150 per 10 gram of 22 carat with a slash of rupees 660 and that of 24 carat is at rupees 52,530 with a hike of rupees 740. The prices have weakened at global markets, thus making the domestic prices in India also weak, resulting in fall of prices for last 3 days. Crude oil prices have edged slightly lower on Tuesday after falling 1.9% on the day before, largely weighed by deteriorating pandemic situation in the US and Europe as well as uncertainties surrounding an OPEC meeting scheduled today. Brent crude for March was at $51.76 per barrel, down by 4%, while US West Texas Intermediate crude for February fell by 9 cents to $48.43 per barrel. This was all from today's business activities. Back to you, Mark, in studio.
Thanks very much, Abhishek. And now let's get you all the news from across the world, in fact. Global news. Well, the fate of thousands of Indian students pursuing their higher studies in China, it's in limbo, as there is no clarity and no indication from the Chinese side on their return to their campuses. This is due to the COVID-19 outbreak in China. Over 20,000 Indian students returned to India, and they, along with many other foreign students, are now waiting for the past many months to return and fully resume their studies. And many of them are stuck for 11 months now, losing almost a year. Last week, the Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson said that China will assess the situation concerning the resumption of studies in China for foreign students and will also continue discussing that with all parties. But due to the COVID-19 outbreak, China restricted the entry of foreigners. It later allowed entry of some category of foreigners, but foreign students, they've not been allowed yet. The UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson reimposed a lockdown in England as a more transmissible variant of that COVID-19 is there. It's surging in the number of infections. Also, hospitalizations have increased across the country. And the stay-at-home order, in fact, is expected to last until mid-February. Johnson warned that the coming weeks would be the hardest amid the surging cases and patient numbers. He said that those in the top 4 priority groups would be offered the first vaccine dose by the middle of next month. Under the new lockdown, people will be permitted to leave their home only to shop for essentials, to seek medical assistance. All schools and colleges, along with outdoor sports venues, will remain closed from today. Restaurants can continue to offer food delivery. On Monday, the UK recorded more than 50,000 new confirmed cases for the 7th straight day, and a further 58,784 cases and an additional 407 deaths within 28 days of a positive test result were reported of the new strain. So the government of Bangladesh too has granted approval for the emergency use of the Oxford University AstraZeneca coronavirus vaccine. The approval was granted, in fact, by the Directorate General of Drug Administration, the DGDA of Bangladesh. That happened late on Monday, and it's been to Beximuko Pharmaceutical Limited. Beximuko Pharmaceutical Limited, Bangladeshi company. The BPL has signed an agreement with the Serum Institute of India to import 30 million shots of the vaccine for Bangladesh on December 13. Earlier dismissing the apprehension about the delay in receiving this vaccine, the Foreign Minister Dr. A.K. Abdul Momen told the media that the vaccine from Indian manufacturer will arrive in Bangladesh on time. He said that the government of Bangladesh is exploring other sources to get the COVID-19 vaccine as well. Germany is administrating a possibility of delaying the second dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. This is from the BioNTech Pfizer brand. Authorities are seeking the view of an independent vaccination commission on the decision to delay the second shot beyond the current 42-day maximum limit. Britain's move to delay the administering of the second dose of the BioNTech Pfizer shot has been welcomed by a number of German health experts. It comes also as governments try to provide protection against the coronavirus to as many people as possible by giving them one shot as soon as possible and delaying the second shot. Meanwhile, Germany has vaccinated about 239,000 people since the start of this campaign, which was on December 27. News from Georgia in the United States. Voters there will head to the polls today. This is after 2 months of that hard-fought campaigning for the closely watched Senate runoff elections on January 6th. The outcome will decide which party holds the majority in the Senate. Now, if the Republicans win both the seats in Georgia in the runoff election, they will continue to retain control of the upper chamber. If their candidates lose, however, the Democrats will gain control of the Senate, the House of Representatives, and the White House, which is quite extraordinary for the Democrats. Ahead of today's runoff elections, the Republican surrogates traveled to Georgia's Savannah on Monday for a last-minute rally. And today's runoff, in fact, these elections see a pair of incumbent Republican U.S. senators against 2 Democrat challengers. The Democrats need to win both these seats in order to wrest the control of the chamber, as we said. But if the Democrats sweep the twin runoffs, the chamber would be split 50-50, and the tie-break vote would be with the Vice President-elect Kamala Harris, giving the President-elect Joe Biden's party full sway over the Congress. Saudi Arabia will reopen its airspace and land and sea border to Qatar. The breakthrough announcement came on the eve of the Gulf Cooperation Council summit and could pave the way towards resolving a political dispute that led Saudi Arabia and its allies to impose a boycott on Qatar. The breakthrough was announced by the Kuwaiti Foreign Minister Ahmed Nasser Al Sabah. The Emir of Qatar, Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, along with representatives from Bahrain, Kuwait, Oman, Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, will attend the Gulf Cooperation Council summit, where a deal will be signed today. Senior White House advisor Jared Kushner, joined by the Middle East envoy Avi Berkowitz and Brian Hook, will also attend the signing ceremony. Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Bahrain and Egypt imposed a diplomatic, trade and travel boycott on Qatar in June of 2017, accusing Qatar of supporting terrorism. However, Qatar has repeatedly denied these allegations and said that there was no legitimate justification for the severance of relations. And some news that's just coming in. The Serum Institute of India and Bharat Biotech jointly communicate their pledge towards a smooth rollout of the COVID-19 vaccines to India and the world. The two companies communicated their combined intent to develop, manufacture and supply the COVID-19 vaccines for India and globally. Also, they said the more important task in front of them is saving lives and livelihoods of populations in India and the world. Vaccines are a global public good, public health good, and they have the power to save lives and accelerate the return to economic normalcy at the earliest. Nitendra now joins us with inputs on this. Well, Nitendra, important joint statement, especially in the light of all the politics around the vaccines, showing that, the country stands united in this fight against COVID.
निश्चित तौर पे मार्क ये कि बहुत ही इम्पोर्टेंट दोनों की तरफ से एक जॉइंट स्टेटमेंट आया है। दोनों एक बड़ी कंपनी है, ग्लोबल कंपनी है जो वैक्सीन बनाती है, दुनिया भर में सबसे ज्यादा वैक्सीन बनाती है। दोनों लोगों ने कहा है कि हम दोनों मिलकर के काम करेंगे और जो दुनिया के लोगों के जीवन को बचाना है उस पे काम करना है। इसके अलावा ये जो वैक्सीन है वो लाइफ सेविंग वैक्सीन है और न केवल भारत के लोगों के बल्कि दुनिया के लोगों के लिए ये जीवन को बचाएगा और इसलिए दोनों लोग मिल करके काम करेंगे और न केवल भारत में इसकी सप्लाई होगी बल्कि दुनिया भर में इसकी सप्लाई होगी। और पिछले हफ्ते जो कुछ भी हुआ है दोनों कंपनियों के बीच में उसको लेकर के उन्होंने कहा कि मिसकम्युनिकेशन और मिसअंडरस्टैंडिंग की वजह से ऐसा हुआ है और दोनों ही कंपनी की जो वैक्सीन है वो काफी इफेक्टिव है और काफी सुरक्षित है। लिहाजा एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट ये दोनों का स्टेटमेंट माना जा रहा है और ये दोनों कंपनियों ने कहा है कि हम मिलकर के काम करेंगे और जैसे भारत सरकार ने प्लानिंग किया है वैक्सीनेशन को लेकर के उस वैक्सीनेशन कार्यक्रम में शामिल होंगे।
Right. Also, for it to be rolled out across the world, Nitendra, we expect, to move from emergency use to full authorization. When is this likely to take place? Because, Bharat Biotech will also be in the final stages of trials. So that will only follow that, isn't it? And when are we likely to see full authorization?
देखिए मार्क सरकार की प्लानिंग चल रही है, सरकार इस दिशा में काम कर रही है। अब से थोड़ी देर बाद प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस है जिसमें हो सकता है कि बताया जाए और हम ये उम्मीद करते हैं कि 7 से 10 दिनों में बिल्कुल वैक्सीनेशन का कार्यक्रम शुरू हो जाएगा क्योंकि दोनों ही कंपनियों ने वैक्सीन के पर्याप्त स्टॉक हैं और जितनी जरूरत है गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया को उतनी स्टॉक में वैक्सीन है और जैसी सरकार की तरफ से हरी झंडी मिलेगी कंपनी जो है वैक्सीन को प्रोवाइड करा देगी। तो हम उम्मीद करते हैं कि 7 से 10 दिन के अंदर निश्चित तौर पे जो सरकार ने प्रायोरिटी तय किए हैं, चाहे वो डॉक्टर्स हो, नर्सेज हो या फिर हमारे फ्रंट लाइनर वर्कर है, उन तीनों को जो 3 करोड़ ऐसे लोग हैं जिनको दिया जाना है शुरुआत में, उनको दिया जाएगा।
Thanks very much, Nitendra Singh, with those inputs. You're watching Midday Prime Time now for stories from the world of sports. And Suchitra will run through those stories for us. Over to you, Suchitra.
Thank you, Mark. And let's start with some cricket news. 5 Indian players, Rohit Sharma, Rishabh Pant, Shubman Gill, Prithvi Shaw and Navdeep Saini have got the clearance to play in Sydney. These players allegedly broke the bio-bubble restrictions. The players have been given the permission after a due investigation. Indian batsman Lokesh Rahul is ruled out of Border Gavaskar Trophy. BCCI has said that Rahul sprained his left wrist while batting in the nets at the MCG during Team India's practice session on Saturday. The wicketkeeper batsman will not be available for the remaining 2 tests of the Border Gavaskar Trophy, as he will need about 3 weeks' time to recover completely and regain full strength. He will now return to India and head to the National Cricket Academy in Bengaluru. Australia coach Justin Langer has all but confirmed David Warner will return for the 3rd test against India and said uncapped opener Will Pucovski is available for selection after clearing concussion protocols. Regular opener Warner has been racing to be fit for the Sydney test starting Thursday after missing the first 2 matches in Adelaide and Melbourne with a groin strain. Sports Minister Kiran Rijiju on Monday launched the Assam Rifles Public School in Shillong as a Khelo India sports school. At present, 9 sports schools have been approved across the country, out of which 5 are managed by defence and paramilitary forces. In the northeast region, Assam Rifles Public School is the first sports school announced under Khelo India scheme. On to football. Liverpool's Premier League title defence suffered a setback as they fell to a 1-0 defeat at Southampton on Monday. Danny Ings' superb second-minute goal proved to be the match winner for Southampton. Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool side, for whom this was a second league loss of the season, remain top of the table on goal difference but have taken only 2 points from the past 9 available. Both Manchester United and Manchester City will leapfrog the reigning champions if they win their games in hand. Southampton's first win in 5 Premier League games sees them climb to 6th and brought an emotional response from manager Ralph, who sank to his knees to celebrate taking points against a side led by Klopp for the first time. The Austrian coach dropped to his knees when the victory was secured and burst into tears as Southampton sit 4 points off the top of the Premier League table. So those were some top sports stories. Back to you, Mark.
And I guess that's all we have for you today in Midday Prime. Thanks very much for watching. Namaskar.